Frostbite Caves gave me frosticular cancer. The fourth world of Plants vs Zombies is full of pain and suffering. It is a world where no matter how hard I tried, I just kept wanting to give up, but I didn't. Like a true gamer, I soldiered on, and one plant managed to prove himself to be a very invaluable plant in my garden. But first, why don't you subscribe so I have the incentive to finish this goddamn challenge? And in case you've missed my previous episodes, I highly recommend you click the playlist on screen to get caught up to date on my antics. Frostbite Caves starts off with the plants continuing to verse the zombies in day 1, where we meet the gimmick of this world, these switching lane things, but of course, since this is day 1, we get through it without any issues. On to day 2, we meet the next gimmick of this world, fresh blowies. What these blowies do is they turn my crops blue balled and freezes them in place. The only way I can undo this is with my silly little chili guy, who saved my ass on multiple occasions, and we managed to beat day 2 with ease. Day 3 was the conveyor belt day, so we swiftly move on to day 4, which was a tough day. It did give me a couple of close calls, but we beat it with the power of British mints. This was quickly followed by another conveyor belt day on day 5 before moving into the first truly hard day of this world, day 6. On this day, most of our plants have been picked for us, but it's worth noting, in my garden I do actually have peppers growing, so I can use these hot pepper thingies. This was a close call, and I almost completely fucked it due to the harsh blowing from the developers. I managed to beat the day after only a couple of attempts. To be honest, nothing really remarkable happened for the next couple of days, so to make a long story short, day 7 was piss easy, day 8 was a conveyor belt level, and on day 9, I finally figured out the true power of the strawberry. It turns out that when the strawberry turns red, you can actually click on him, and he launches a massive thermonuclear device into the zombies in his current and adjacent lanes. I'm such a fucking dumbass, I wish I knew this sooner. Day 10 was another conveyor belt level. They really love those levels in this world, and day 11 was a goddamn ball ache. I just kept getting blowies from the devs. Now don't get me wrong, this wasn't as hard as it was in my beans challenge, but I would like to reiterate, I still think day 11 hit the second tower. Day 12 was a plan your defences day. This day wasn't too hard, but man, these devs really love to freeze my crops. But now, I have a confession to make. This whole time, I was growing potatoes that saved my ass in this day. I recently harvested them and had a jacket potato with beans and cheese. My god, it tasted awesome, but I suppose it means I can't use the potatoes after this world. Or I might just use them anyway, because we all know this challenge is about as consistent as my bowel movements. Day 13 was yet another close day, where I only managed to beat the day by the skin of my balls and stalling a garg until I managed to off him. Moving on to day 14, we had to beat this day with given plants, and it is on this day where I am starting to regret the structure of this challenge. Covering every single day, no matter how dull it is just plain fucking boring. Now is probably the perfect time to mention, I'm streaming all of these worlds over at twitch.tv/Whoie, so if you haven't already, why don't you go and drop me a follow so you can watch me while I sleep. Moving on to day 15, we had to protect the first endangered plant of this world. Now, this day struck some fear into me, but I actually managed to beat it first try. The first half of Frostbite Caves has actually been relatively uneventful, but the second half of this world actually drove me fully mad. But first, we had to deal with day 16, which was another fucking conveyor belt day, day 17, where the only remotely challenging aspect was meeting the ice-pushing hobo zombie, and day 18 was another conveyor belt day. Jesus Christ, this world is full of these boring-ass days. And if you couldn't tell, I fucking hate Frostbite Caves. Moving on to day 19, we had yet another simple day, but it is time I address the elephant in the room. In my last challenge, I never removed any pre-placed plants, and I'm going to be doing the same here, since this game is just starting to piss me off, and I'm not making this shit any harder than it needs to be. Now, I know I said the second half of this world is much harder, but it's more like the closing days that are actually hard, because first we have to deal with day 20, which was simple, day 21, which was another conveyor belt day, and we can finally move on to have an interesting day in day 22. Now, the reason day 22 was so interesting is because we were introduced to another zombie, the fucking weasel zombie. I hate these types of zombies. He can well and truly go fuck himself. If you thought the chicken zombie was bad, this guy is on a whole different level, because at least the chickens would die with a little bit of a tickle, but these little shits have the health of a near goddamn brown coat. That, and they sprint at such speeds that anytime they went on screen, spikeweed or not, I just fucking die. In the end, I did manage to beat day 22, and it was tough, but this shit's only gonna get worse. Because moving on to day 23, it made me want to rip out my ass hair and stick it to a zombie's smug little gob. The weasel came back, and he was more powerful than ever. He wanted revenge, and he was gunning for me. But he was just too much. He was so powerful, I could not defeat him. So my good old friend, the Spikeweed, decided he was going to step up. And in the end, our good old friend, the Spikeweed, did manage to tickle these weasels to death, but my god, it took so many attempts. And from here, it only got worse. Day 24 was somehow so much harder, so our good old friend the Spikeweed, he came back to me. He came back with an idea. He was going to go to the local Sainsbury's and buy a full set of Power Rangers armour, and it was a damn good thing he did, because these weasels, after hours of attempts, just decided to skewer themselves on our friend's new Power Rangers armour. The pain and agony of day 24 was followed by another goddamn conveyor belt day in day 25, and day 26 was another hard as balls weasel-centric day. It wasn't only the weasels that made it tough though, it was the continuous blowies I got from the devs. Somehow, this day wasn't actually as tough as day 26, maybe because the Spikeweed was carrying my ass, but man, I just well and truly hate Frostbite caves. This world does not need to be 30 days long. It's far too long, far too annoying, and I fucking hate this weasel twat. And the same goes for day 27. It wasn't as hard as day 24, but it took me multiple attempts, even with the Spikeweed carrying me. But I think overnight the Spikeweed must have gotten more powerful. I don't know if he was doing push-ups or something, but he was well and truly carrying me through day 27. I don't know how, but I am here for it. Day 28 was a plan your defences day, so I decided to put my new Spikeweed friend to the test. I planned the whole day with only Spikeweeds, and holy moly, this guy just became straight up busted for no reason whatsoever. It's absolutely insane. You know, maybe from now on I should hold back from using him, since I fear he might be making this challenge a bit too trivial. But let's be honest, you all know what I'm like, and we'll probably see him again in the near future. After finishing day 28, we've officially finished all the challenge days in Frostbite Caves, since day 29 was a given plant day, and on day 30 we meet Mr. Zomboss, and we encounter him with our good old friend Mr. Worldwide, who decides to use his fire tunes to absolutely melt Zomboss. Thank you, Mr. Worldwide, you are truly one of the top 3 bold people of all time.